Hazer, I guess first to kind of just recap last week. I know we've talked about this, and it feels like it's deja vu sometimes with, a decent first half, and then things kind of fizzle out in the third quarter. But you guys came very close to rallying and tying it up in the fourth. What did you see from your team against New York?
Yeah, no, it's exactly that. A really good half. Probably not rewarded as much as we would have liked to. We had a lot of great opportunities. Defensively, we were good. Dougie was excellent in that. And then third quarter wise, the switch got kind of turned off a little bit there. And yeah, they took it to us, capitalized. And again, I'm not going to say it was all good lacrosse goals. Like Keo's goal was one of those ones that I know he's closing his eyes and it goes in, and then they get a good goal, power play goal, bad goal, and then we're chasing their game again here a little bit. So yeah, we got to figure this out. Yeah, and then fourth quarter again. Yeah, again, we just had that sense of urgency. So we just got to make sure that sense of urgency is here for, I know it's cliche, but the entire 60 minutes, because we know we can play with anybody when we put our mind to it, and we're focused and dialed in. And yeah, we're gonna have our hands full, and we're just gonna make sure that at least we're doing that.
There was a moment during Saturday's game, and it was short-lived intentionally, I believe. I'll ask you to confirm it, but Rylan Hartley steps onto the floor. The crowd kind of erupts, which I think was pretty cool to see. I was just wondering, I mean, sometimes players and coaches, you're so focused and dialed in on the game. But that reaction, that ovation, is that almost something that you couldn't help but notice?
Yeah, it got really loud in there, and again, at that particular time, it was good timing. It was bad timing because again, just what was going on at the floor took a long time for the referees to sort it out, so it just kind of lost its little punch there type deal and a little bit of a flavor of it. But yeah, it was yeah, they had something to cheer about. Again, it's been a long road back for our hearts there, and it was great to see. And again, it's yeah, one thing they could cheer about at home, anyways. I guess at the end of the day here.
Uh, I guess we could talk about the big picture, but it's not really that big because it's only 3 games left. It's not the rest of the season. But I assume the approach is pretty much one game at a time here. I mean, you mentioned Toronto or mentioned really that the Hawks can beat anybody. And if you look at the standings, there's a lot of teams that are at the top of the playoffs that the Hawks have beaten this season. So, Toronto could be one of them, I guess. But is that your approach? Is just, at the end of the day, we can't focus on Atlanta and Philly and Toronto. We just have to focus on the Rock.
100%. Again, this is what we're facing this week is the best team in the league, right? And Rosie's probably the MVP of this league as well for what he's doing on that team. So we got our hands full there. And again, yes, that's our approach. And then the other thing that we're looking at is we still hold our destiny to a certain extent in our own hands. And again, we've been able to play, like I say, in glimpses and games with anybody and everybody we've played so far. So if we have the opportunity to again just make sure that we can play our game our way an entire 60 minutes, again, we'll take our chances and we'll count up we'll count up the opportunities and see where we are.
Last question I have for you. Going off the floor, I want to ask you about a guy who is also in this chat. Craig Ripczynski is going to be broadcasting this 400th game for the Knighthawks on Saturday night. You've known him as a player and a coach. Uh, Tell us a little bit about your relationship with him, and what do you think he means to the history of, obviously it's multiple franchisees, right? But what he means to the Rochester Knighthawks in your eyes.
Yeah, again, for I think for the Rochester Knighthawks, both new and old, it's he's the voice of us, and he's that constant factor that and again, no offense to the other people on this list, but he's the one guy that I can sit and watch a game and listen to. Again, he gets us. Um, he does his homework. He's not just talking about us. He's talking about everybody on the opposite side as well. And he just does such a good job calling the game as a neutral party, in my estimation, anyways. That Yeah, he does a great job. And again, our relationships kind of developed over the years as well. Because as a player, just leave me alone. But as on this side of the thing, it was more so like Ripper will do anything for the Nighthawks and any player in the Nighthawks organization. And again, that's just one factor of where we are as an organization. Just because guys like Ripper and the character he has, that yeah, he is second to none in my estimation.
Thanks, Hazer. Um, sure, John, we can move you back. Let's go to Ashley.
Yeah, sorry about that. Hi, how are you?
So, how about yourself?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much. So just to piggyback on that, so is Rylan back now?
Yeah, he's on the active roster, and yeah, he's been cleared to play from the medical staff, and yeah, he's helping out a bit.
That's amazing news. I'm so happy to hear that. Maybe you can just speak a little bit to what that process has been like for everybody, because I know that like it's been scary as well. And as you mentioned, it's nice to have him recovered, but just like all the time that's passed, like how has that been for you, the team, etc.?
Yeah, no, it's been a bit of a roller coaster. Again, it's more on Ryland and in the process that he's been through. It's been, like I say, it's been through multiple doctors, multiple tests, and again, scans, and just his recovery process has been a steady road. And he's gotten better every day, and by no means are we taking this lightly. He's probably been cleared to play probably a month or so ago.
Okay.
Um, we've been and he's been in a couple practice. He's been in practicing for about a month as well. And it's finally the time that he's comfortable enough to be in the net. Medically, there's nothing that's going to happen affect him today, tomorrow, or next week that they're seeing. So it's just a matter of him being comfortable. Um, and he's ready. And again, he's back to his old self. He's a character, to say the least, people know. A little while there, he was not quite himself, but he's bugging everybody again, which is a real good sign.
That's really wonderful. Like on a human level, that's really great that he's back. I'm happy to hear that. Um, so despite the results in some cases, you guys have managed to have massive offensive output at times, right? 18, 19, 13, 14 wins or losses. So regardless of results, what about your offense excites you the most?
That we have the ability, basically at the end of the day, against anybody. And the potential is there because they get each other now. They're on the same page. And sometimes they do stall, and again, it's still a bit of a learning process for them because again, we are young. Fieldsy's our oldest guy, maybe Turner a little bit as well. They're probably what, 29-ish type deal. And the rest are 25, 26 years old, 20, well, two guys at 24 as well. So
Mhm.
we're like I say, we're young, we're learning, but when they're on, they're playing and they're having fun. And it's fun to watch.
Obviously Connor is and has been a spark for you guys. Aside from him, though, who do you feel like is somebody who can drive your offense forward? And maybe sometimes it's not they're scoring goals, it's just what they're doing off ball or passes that they're making, the vision that they have.
You know what? I think as a collective, obviously Connors are one, Ryan Smith's are 1A,
Mhm.
as far as guys that are driving it. But Ryan Lanchbury, since he's been here, his confidence level has just gone through the roof. And again, he's taking a lot of that ball carrying responsibility on our right side, which allows Waters to, bang inside, which allows Austin to bang inside, which allows Snyder to flash through, and again, just sort of be a secondary role, and also gives Ryan Smith some opportunities to play without the ball as well. So again, he be one. But again, as the collective as well, like go back to the left side, Thomas McConvey,
Mhm.
he's been better every single game for us. And again, for a guy that hasn't played box in the last handful of years, um, his growth rate has been steady and climbing every single game. And that's what we would love to see, like seeing out of a rookie. And then having Turner Evans back as well. Leiter's just gotten back, a handful of games along with Turner. Those two guys are just so responsible for us that it allows our guys to, maybe extend the play a little bit more because we know we have coverage on the back and we try and limit transition. And they're two guys that are real smart about doing it. So you want me to say one?
You've said
Probably
six, but yeah,
Lance.
I'd love
I,
one.
yeah, I think Blanchberry again has taken his
Yeah.
game to a level. I think he's hitting what was expected out of him coming into this league. Didn't get his opportunity in Georgia, but now he's thriving in our environment, anyways.
You're a pretty even keel guy for the most part. I mean, I'm sure sometimes the camera catches a cutaway that you wouldn't love to be on TSN, but is it difficult for you to have patience to usher in a younger group? I know that these things do take time, but sometimes are you like, all right, I'd love a little kickstart right about now, especially at this point in the season?
Yeah, 100%. And again, we didn't, mapping it out, we thought we'd be 500. We're close to 500 and battling for a playoff spot. So
Yeah.
realistically, we kind of are where we thought we'd be.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the season's a roller coaster, right? And it's learning to ride the waves and the ups and downs of it. And I think that's one thing that we as a staff kind of do well. But yeah, we do have moments where it gets again, go back to the last game where if we win that one, we're in the bottom half of playoffs. And New
Yeah.
York is we got this over Calgary, we got a game over Vancouver, we got a game over Saskatchewan. So a couple more things would be in our favor. And playing the way we did in the third quarter, yes, is really frustrating. And our group feels it as well.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, it's take a breath. Reality check is we are where we are. This is our journey, and we just got to do what we need to do starting this week again in Toronto and see where we go from there.
Last one for me, and then I'll hand things over. Um, but I know we always talk about lacrosse being a game of runs. Your season, in terms of like the win loss total, has been like extreme highs and extreme lows. 3 wins, 6 losses, 3 wins. Usually, you see it a little bit more, I guess, like sporadic in terms of the results for a team that has your record. But in those lulls, in those moments where things aren't going your way, how are you keeping your team, engaged, motivated, positive, even throughout the adversity?
Again, it's while it's adversary, it's great opportunities here for us in our runs, like in our lows and stuff like that, because we haven't had a full team probably since game 2 this year. And again, I'm including Ryland Hartley, whose first game back was last week.
Right.
So we've had a lot of guys jumping into the lineup that, for us to move forward with is really, really good. And again, it looks promising. But at the same time, it's all about wins and losses today, right? So they do a good job as a group. Danny Coates does a good job. Our veteran leadership there has a good job of just sort of keeping everybody grounded as well. Because again, having such a young core, we could go sideways and the expectations could be crumbling, but they keep a lot of things in perspective. And again, we support each other. And again, it's our notes have always been like, let's just win the next shift. And that's still our thought process. We're getting to game 16 and we just want to win the next shift and see where we are at the end of 16 and sort of add them up and see where we are. So it is what it is. This is our journey, but our focus is next shift. Let's just go do that, win that one.
Gorgeous. Thanks so much, Coach.
Thanks, Ashley.
Hey Mike, how's it going?
You're good. Thanks for yourself.
Not too bad. Just I get first and foremost want to congratulate Ripper for for hitting 400 this Saturday. Super excited for you. That's an amazing achievement, buddy. You mentioned Dan Coates, and that kind of sprung this question here. Only 7 games played. He was, out of the lineup for quite some time. How important has he been through this season, even when he's out of the lineup, being that vocal presence, and how much more important is it having him out on the floor, not just from him being one of the better defenders on your team, but just that vocal veteran leadership that he brings?
Yeah, it's tremendous. And again, there was a stretch where he wasn't around us as well. And again, we kind of felt the effects of that through the season because again, he just couldn't he wasn't he didn't have the ability to process things and be in an environment in the games and stuff like that. So he's been slowly coming back. But yes, to have him on the floor is for our group is well, I don't know what word I'm looking for, but it's a big factor because we have great players, great young players that don't have that cachet to grab a team by the ear and grab a guy by the collar and say, "Okay, let's go, follow me." Coatsy is that guy for us.
Mhm.
And OC as well there. There are 2 veteran guys that sort of lead by example, and again, they've been through the wars. So he's a guy that everybody gravitates to, everybody stops and listens. And when he's not there, we have been kind of searching for that next voice. And something like say, so with him being there, it settles everybody down and it just sort of puts everything back into perspective that he's able to get everybody to take a breath and kind of reset and get going again here. And again, having him on the floor for us as well as he is our better defenseman at the end of the day. He drives us from the back end as well. So him being on the floor has kind of shored up our defensive well as well. We've been playing a lot better since he's been back there too.
With your athleticism that you have all over the floor, do you feel like most teams kind of get scared to get in a run and gun battle with the Rock? But do you feel that actually this might be a good matchup against another athletic team?
Yeah, and again, we want to go forward, and we kind of want to restrict that, restrict some of their ability. But I do like our horses 100%. And I do like our responsibility on the floor as well, that they can sort of match feet and cover off and kind of limit their opportunities as well. But the thing is, we got to make sure that we're ready to go and ready to do it because again, those kind of transition goals, and we haven't been rewarded going forward much lately. And maybe that's because teams are, reacting quicker to us as well. But those ones have killed us the last couple of games or a handful of games and through our stretches as well that we were not that sharp. So we got to make sure that we're sharp to, push forward, but at the same time, defend.
Connor Fields, another just unbelievable season when you look at the point totals, but you also look at the loose ball numbers, just everything that he does for your offense. You've been around many special offensive talents as a player, as a coach. Where exactly is Connor Fields' ceiling?
You know what? I still think there's more in his game that he's going to get better with, to tell you the truth. Because again, he hasn't been around the box game his entire life like a lot of players, high end players have been. So he's still learning a lot of nuances in the game that I think, as he learns them and gets more comfortable with them and the guys that's working with them, like I still think he's going to climb. He's that good. And again, he's that dynamic and, he's probably one of the very few guys that can do stuff on his own. And with that, and then recognizing, his teammates are also there. Again, it's been a process for him, but yeah, I don't know where the ceiling is going to end for him, to tell you the truth. And I'm glad he's learning it through us and here in Rochester.
He's a lot of fun to watch, a lot of fun to call games. So, with that being said, 3-game losing streak here, and I don't want to say the offense has gone dry because you guys have had your opportunities, as you mentioned earlier on the call, but Single digits in all three of these losses offensively, that just doesn't seem like a recipe for success for many teams in the NL, but especially, a dynamic offense like you guys have. What do you need to get back to have that successful offensive output where you guys have the ability to almost score at will? It seems like every possession you guys touch the ball.
Yeah, you know what? I think for us as a group is that we got to continue to stick with it because again, a lot of our first halves, are putting us really close to double digits. Even in our losses, like we're getting 5, 6, 6, 7 goals in the first half, and then we kind of go stale. And I think it's just sort of taking that breath and continuing the process that we're on. And again, we've come across some pretty good goalies that, Colorado, Dylan Ward there, like, he's having a down year until it seemed he played us. And then he had the best game of the year, right? So we just got to continue with the process basically at the end of the day. And being such a young offensive core and group, that's part of the process of learning how to play in this league, that not everything is gonna, be as smoothly. So, but we don't have to change what we're doing, just continue with the process, and like one will drop and then we can get back to feeling better about ourselves, I guess, a little bit at the end of the day. So it's yeah, we understand what we gotta do as a group here, I think, as well this weekend. And yeah, Toronto's is a beast and we're gonna have our hands full, but I think we're up for the task.
Last one for me. It's great to see Hartley back, but then Hutchcraft goes on the yard. Do you have any sort of injury update on where Riley is at this point?
Yeah, Hutchie is day to day right now. So yeah, we'll see Saturday morning of again where he's at. Make a quick call between them and kind of go from there.
Awesome, appreciate that. Thank you, and we'll see you this weekend.
Sounds good, thanks.
Hey, Mike, thanks for doing this. Your view looks very similar to mine.
Yeah,
I
pretty
just
much,
needed 2014 F-150. Just needed a chance to pull over here, so thanks, everybody. Retrospective to start, I guess. You do get off to that great start, and I know you had injuries. Everybody knows that. So, keeping that in mind, I get it's not a straight line answer here, but what did you feel you got away from when things started to slip there after those 3 games to start the season?
You know what? It's just that consistency. And again, a lot of new guys, not like I say, there's at points where we have 3, 4 new guys in the back end that haven't had many games in this league. And it's just and truth be told, Hutchie's been in this league for quite a few years, but he's never had the weight on his shoulders that he did going into game 4 and beyond. So it's a learning process for them all, and it just getting that comfortability about being, in their own minds that they belong in this league, because again, they may not have been scheduled to be on the floor at this particular point, right? And again, it's a learning process, and again, it's just getting that confidence, and then just realizing that they belong, and we've grown through that as a group. Hutchie as well. His numbers have been here, and we were able to outscore a few teams, by a handful. But his numbers and his play has become consistent, and the goals against have been dropping as well as we've gone through. So yeah, it's just been a learning curve here for a lot of guys all at once. And we're, like I say, as an organization, we're better for it where we are today. I think we're hungry for it.
I appreciate that. When you, just to dovetail into Rylan, like how tough is it from a coaching organization standpoint? And then obviously you love the guy, having been with him as you have, where you want to do what's best for the player and you understand the competitiveness, but you got to keep in mind, his future outside of the game as well. And so it's great to hear he's back and he's medically cleared, and you hope that's, the end of his troubles here. But how challenging is that when you're in the soup to try and weigh those two sides?
Well, it's a challenge, and again, I'm going from my personal experience too, because my career ended in this league lying on the floor with an elbow in the head, right? And well, the one thing for me is that my age, the doctor got to me and said that was enough, right? So, and again, at my age, I realize, but and that's the problem. And Kerry in his career went through issues like this as well, and we don't want to see what the 3 years for me post concussion wise happens to a 25-year-old kid. And I think that's why the process has been extended for him, because like I say, he's been cleared for over a month. And we, myself, Dan Carey, Lauber, just quite weren't comfortable personally. And you know, it's great that he is medically cleared. But you never know what's next. And that's the scary factor for him on the personal side of it. Lacrosse wise, competitive wise, we want him on the floor as soon as he's able to get there, because again, he just brings our team and our game as a group to a different level. And again, he's not starting this week either, and that's not going to be. No one's going to have to guess on that. But we are comfortable right now that if he is called upon, he's able and physically and mentally ready to play. And that's the way, I guess, the one good thing about it here.
Thank you. Yeah, I can't imagine. That's a really, really tough journey for everybody, I think, but glad to see him back. Two more for me. You think of the Rock this year, they have been a strong second half team. What does your team need to do to dial it in the second half?
Yeah, just we got a brand new light switch that we kind of fixed. Had the electricians in, so hopefully that switch will be a bit better for us. But it's just going to be that. And again, our practice, we kind of hopefully we tricked them as well, because we practiced for an hour and sat in the locker room for 10 minutes at halftime and then went back and practiced again. So it's just again, and I don't know. We've seen it over the years that we're a bad starting team, so we change things up in practices and stuff like that. Now we're a bad second half team, so it's a mindset that, and again, Coatsy being on the floor and back and comfortable again, he's going to be able to keep us in check here as well. And it's exactly that. It's just the mindset. First half, the second half is just an extension of the first half. Let's continue and let's go. So that's. Probably not a very good answer, but we just got to go. We just got to continue to go, because
No, I appreciate it. Yep. Last one is, what's your relationship with Matt Sawyer like?
This week right now, I haven't seen him, don't want to talk to him, but again,
Overall.
overall, no, like I say, Matty, I respect Matty a lot. He's a great lacrosse mind. And again, he was a coach of mine with T and Brampton in summer ball for a couple of years as well. So known Matty a long time. I guess I played against him too, because we are both that kind of old. But yeah, respect Matty a lot. He's got a great lacrosse mind. He's doing wonderful things at seeing him in Toronto, and being in the building, seeing him on a daily basis as well. It's good to see. And yeah, but at the end of the day, yeah, I'd rather him be frowning and me being smiling Monday morning in the building when I go back to work.
You got it. Thank you very much, Mike. Appreciate it. And Ripper, over to you. Congrats, buddy, on 400. That's a lot of games.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Ripper, do you have anything?
I'm good, man. A lot of great questions, and I've talked to Hazer early in the week, so I think I'm good.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, I think that wraps up our media availability here this morning. Hazer, appreciate your time and good luck against Toronto.
Yes, thank you very much. And thanks, guys. Thanks for the time.
Bye, everybody.
you.
Thanks so much,
Thank
Hazer.
you.
Appreciate it, buddy.